Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की Hare Krishna. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 10, verse number 25. So this is the last sloka of this chapter. Na vikriya vishwasuhrutsakasya samyena vita bhimate stavapi mahadvimanat svakrutadimadrin nakshatyaduradapi sulapanihi na vikriya vishwasuhrutsakasya samyena vita bhimate stavapi mahadvimanat svakrutadimadrin nakshatyaduradapi sulapanihi na vikriya vishwasuhrutsakasya samyena vita bhimate stavapi mahadvimanat svakrutadimadrin nakshatyaduradapi sulapanihi. Word to word meaning? Na, not. Vikriya, material transformation. Vishwa Sukrit, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is a friend to everyone. Sakasya, of you, the friend. Samyena, because of your mental equilibrium. Vita abhimatehe, who has completely forsaken the bodily concept of life. Tava, your. Api, indeed. Mahat vimanat, of insulting a great devotee. Swakritat, from my own activity. He, certainly. Madruk, a person like me. Nankshati, will be destroyed. Adurat, very soon. Api, certainly. Shulapanihi, even though as powerful as Lord Shiva, Shulapani. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation. O my dear Lord, you are the friend of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the friend of all living entities. You are therefore equal to everyone, and you are free from the bodily conception. Although I have committed an offense by insulting you, I know that there is no loss or gain for you due to my insult. You are fixed in your determination. But I have committed an offense. Because of this, even though I may be as strong as Lord Shiva, I shall be vanquished without delay. Without delay due to my offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Purport. Maharaj Rahugana was very intelligent and conscious of the inauspicious effects arising from insulting a Vaishnava. He was therefore very anxious to be excused by Jadbharat. Following in the footsteps of Maharaj Rahugana, everyone should be very cautious not to commit an offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur in the Chaitanya Bhagavata says, Shulapani samayadi bhakta nindakare bhagavata pramana tathapi sigramare hena Vaishnavera ninda sarvagna hoy se janera adapata sarva shastra koi. Even if one is as strong as Lord Shiva, who carries a trident in his hand, one will nonetheless fall down from his spiritual position if he tries to insult a Vaishnava. This is the verdict of all Vedic scriptures. He also says this in the Chaitanya Bhagavata, Madhilila. Vaishnavera ninda karibeka yar gan, tara raksha samartya nahiko konajan. Sulapani samayadi Vaishnavera ninde tatapi nashayaya kaha shastra vrinda. Iha na maniya ye sujana ninda kare Janma janma se papishta daiva dosha mare. One who blasphemes a Vaishnava cannot be protected by anyone, even if a person is as strong as Lord Shiva. If he blasphemes a Vaishnava, he is sure to be destroyed. This is the verdict of all Shastras. If one does not care for the verdict of the Shastras and dares blaspheme a Vaishnava, he suffers life after life because of this. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 5th canto, chant chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Discussion Between the Jada Bharat and Maharaj Raghugana. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. Hare Krishna. So welcome you all for the Srimad Bhagavatam class. So we're seeing the final verse of chapter 10. So everyone knows the flashback of this whole incident, what happened to Maharaj Rahugana and Jada Bharat in the next life. So let's once again read the translation. Oh my dear Lord, you are the friend of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the friend of all living entities. You are therefore equal to everyone and you are free from the bodily conception. Although I have committed an offense by insulting you, I know that there is no loss or gain for you due to my insult. You are fixed in your determination, but I have committed an offense. Because of this, even though I may be as strong as Lord Shiva, I shall be vanquished without delay due to my offense at the lotus feet of Vaishnava. So in the last class, Vaibhav Krishna Prabhu very nicely explained the various cases or case studies of Vaishnava Aparadh from Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and how to come out of those. He was very nicely explaining. So today, in this sloka, I was thought to describe the first two lines, how a devotee will become the friend of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and how the Lord is the friend of all living entities. So I would like to concentrate on these two lines today and from the pastimes of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we see in Damodar Leela. So of course Damodar month was finished, but still we continue discussing about Damodar Leela because this Leela is eternal, goes on and on. So if you see in Damodar Leela, so we know that Mother Yashoda was churning the milk, churning the butter to give butter to Lord Krishna. Early in the morning on the day of Diwali, early in the morning she started churning the butter, and this butter is coming from a special milk from the special cow. So these cows were fed a flavored grass, and because of this flavored grass, the milk which is coming from the cows is also very flavored. And Yashoda wants to serve the Lord by feeding this butter, flavored butter, which will be very, very tasty. And this is early in the morning, and Krishna was sleeping at that time. So each and every day when Krishna arose from his bed, he used to look at his mother's beautiful face. So this day also he is awake, but he couldn't see his mother there. She was astonished and started crying, "Where is my mother? Where is my mother?" And started crying. And he went to the courtyard in the palace. And he could see that Mother Yashoda was churning the butter for him. And he thought, how this mother is like this? Today she is not beside me when I wake up. And Krishna wants the attention. He was looking for the attention of Mother Yashoda. She is not giving. So what he does, he just goes and struck that butter rod. And meanwhile, before Krishna comes to Mother Yashoda, so how Mother Yashoda was completely engaged in churning the milk. So Srimad Bhagavatam says, so she was churning the butter, so her hands, the whole body was engaged in the service of the Lord, and simultaneously she was thinking about the Lord deep, about his various pastimes, and her mouth is engaged in the glorifying Lord Krishna's pastimes, how he steals the butter, all the different pastimes, completely engaged. So, Kaya, Vacha and Manasa. Kaya, she's churning the butter. Manasa, she's thinking about the Lord's pastimes. And Vacha, through her mouth, she's glorifying the Lord. She's singing the songs of the Lord. In this way, Mother Yashoda was completely engaged, Kaya, Vacha, Manasa, in the service of the Lord. And then Lord comes, does all these pastimes. And Mother Yashoda came out of her meditation on the Lord. And she's just observing the Lord, what he will do right now. And Krishna, as his devotee, his mother, with that possessiveness, he just goes and sits on the lap of Mother Yashoda and starts drinking the milk of Mother Yashoda. So from this incident, what we can understand is that if a devotee does his service completely absorption in the devotion service. The first lesson is being absorbed in the devotion service, whatever you're doing. What is this complete absorption means? Kaya, Vacha, Manasa, our complete existence in the service of the Lord. If we are engaged in that way, what happens? The result is Krishna attends to that devotee. Even though he is very sleeping in Vaikuntha on Shayana, still he comes to attend that devotee. How this devotee is very nicely engaged in my service. So this is what the lesson we can learn from this pastime. Krishna attends to the dear devotee who was completely engaged. So in this way, a devotee will become a dear friend to the Lord. Now we'll see how the Lord is dear to all the living entities. So to explain this, I thought to discuss Chitraketu Maharaj pastimes, so which we had already discussed in level 2, those who have attended. So I'd like to revisit that. So Chitraketu Maharaj, everyone knows. So he has hundreds of wives. And the first wife is Krutadruti. She was the wife. And Chitraketu Maharaj is very famous all over the world. He has a full empire, full opulence. Everything is in his hand. What a normal materialist would desire. Everything he has, everything. But one thing he is lacking. He has number of wives. The whole kingdom is in his hand. But he is lack of a son. Is lack of a son, one son. So he's lamenting every single day. And on this situation, so Angira Muni, sage Angira was the one. So looking at this situation of king Chitraketu, why is so lament? He came to the palace of Chitraketu Maharaj. And he was then Angira Muni came. So Maharaj Chitra not have a son, but sage just like Angira Narada Muni, they can do anything. So sage Angira told him to give a solution. Okay, let's do one sacrifice so that you can beget a son. So following the instructions of sage Angira, Chitraketu did a big sacrifice, very nice sacrifice, so that he can beget a son. So he did a nice sacrifice. Finally, the first, so all the remnants of the sacrifice was done. The remnants of the sacrifice was given to the first wife of Maharaj Chitraketu, and she is Kritadyuti. And after some time, so Kritadyuti got a son. So when he got a son after the finishing of the sacrifice, so sage Angira says to Maharaj Chitraketu that your son will be Harsha Kosha, means your son will be the cause of your happiness. Simultaneously, he will be the cause of your distress also. So Maharaj thought in this way that maybe the cause of my happiness means is the only son. So yeah, it will be the cause of happiness. But what would be the distress? So maybe we thought he's the only heir of the whole kingdom. Maybe he's the only heir and he'll become the dishonest and he'll be pride of his kingdom. Maybe this may be the distress of his. So he thought in this way. So everyone are happy after begetting a son. So all the wives, means the first wife Kritadyuti was very happy, and you can understand the situation of Maharaj. After long time, he got a son by the mercy of sage Angira. He was very happy. Everyone was very joyful. So in the meanwhile, what happened? So Maharaj loved to the first wife Kritadyuti because she was the one gave the son to him. So the love for her first wife increased more and more daily, and simultaneously his love and affection for the other wives was reduced. And other wives took this in a prominent way and thought, how my husband is not giving attention to us. Female means what? They want attention. And there are many females together. They also want the attention of their husband. But her husband's love is going towards his first wife only. And other wives was not happy with this. Not at all happy with this. So one day night, all the other wives came together and they thought that we want our husband's affection back to us. So if you want their husband's affection back to us, so what's the plan? What should be done? Perfectly. Everyone are very intelligent, yes. So he has to poison that child and kill him. And this was the plan. And after a few months or few days, so the child was in the cradle and the mother Kritadyuti was in the garden. And she told the maid servant in the palace to bring the child to the courtyard. The child was taking a small nap in the afternoon. So she gave the instruction to the maid servant to wake up the child from his nap and bring to the garden. And maid servant entered the palace to the room of that small baby in the cradle. And when the maid servant observed, the baby is not sleeping. The baby's eyes were up. The eyeballs are up. She was shocked. What's happening? She moving the child, pinching the child, doing various activities to make the child cry. And there is no symptom of consciousness in the child. She tried various ways and she checked the breath from the nostrils. Nothing is possible. And finally, she understood that child was dead. The child was no more. She started crying loudly. And the mother, this Kritadyuti, understood something was wrong here. And she came back. She came to the room of the child and she saw that maid servant was crying and finally understood that child was also dead. And she started crying completely. After a long time, they got a child. And later Maharaj also got to know about the situation. Everyone started crying. All the residents of the palace came to that room and started crying, great lamentation. And later, Angira Muni and Narada Muni with his friend, they come to the palace of Maharaj Chitraketu. I started asking what's happened. So this was the situation. You gave the only child and he also left. Then Maharaj Chitraketu understood, oh, this was the statement what Narada Angira was made on the day. Harsha Shoka. He's the cause. This son was the cause of his happiness and is the cause of his distress also. So in the meanwhile, so everyone are crying, and this Kritadyuti, the first wife of the wife who gave the child birth, so she was lamenting very much. And so in the meanwhile, she made one statement. She spoke like this: "O Providence, during the lifetime of the father, you have caused the death of his son. You are certainly the enemy of the living beings and are not at all merciful." So she started blaspheming the Lord. She knows all the philosophy. But still, when some distressful situation comes, some difficulty comes, people start blaspheming the Lord. You are the reason for this lamentation. You are the reason. So this is the same case even we can observe even in devotee association also. We know all the philosophy, everything we know, that we are suffering our own karma. But still, when some difficulty comes, we point out to the Lord. I am chanting every day 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, attending Mangalarti, having only prasadam, all these stuffs. But still, when some difficulty comes because of our karma, we point out to the Lord. You are the reason for this. And there are many people who left Krishna consciousness. This is the same condition with the mother of this small child, the first wife of Angira Muni. So all this Angira, and again Narada Muni comes to the palace to see the situation, what happened. And Maharaj Chitraketu once again started discussing the soul situation. Oh sage, yes, on that day what you told was correct. He was the cause of my harsh and shoka. He was the cause of my happiness and the distress. And looking at the distressful situation of Maharaj, so sage Angira and Narada gave one mercy to this Maharaj Parikshit. So what is this mercy? So they blessed the child, the dead child, to come back to the life. And by their mercy, the child who was dead came back to the life. And everyone are overjoyed once again. Yes, my child came back to the life. Very, very joyful, very, very joyful. But the meantime, the child spoke some interesting points. The child spoke as follows. Before that, so Angira Muni was telling this to the child. Child, so you are born in this family of your mother and fathers. Look at them, how they are crying, lamentation. So please come back to your life. And looking at all the situation, the child spoke as follows. Listen carefully. According to the results of my material activities, I, the living being, transmigrate from one body to the another, sometimes going to the species of the demigods, sometimes to the species of the lower animals, sometimes incarnating among the vegetables, and appearing sometimes in the human species. In which birth were these two people, my father and mother? No one is actually my father and mother. I have had millions so-called parents. How can I accept these two people as my father and mother? So this is a statement made by the child. So at that time, everyone understood, got this clarity. So we are living beings fallen in this material world because of the desire to lord it over this material nature. And Krishna gave us this opportunity to enjoy in this material world. But when we take this birth, so we'll have such loving affection from the parents or the relatives. We think ourselves, we have these bodies, and these relatives, parents who are there, are my loving dear people, relatives. And we become so much attached, forgetting that our real father is Krishna. So Krishna himself says in various points in Bhagavad Gita itself. So one of the sloka where he says, Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha, Mamaivamsho Jiva Bhuta Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Manasasthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. Krishna is emphasizing here, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Bhuta. All these living entities who are there are my Amsha, are my part and parcels. So from here we can understand this, we the spirit souls, our real father is Krishna and no one else. So in this material world, so various examples were given. How someone goes for a journey in the train. We meet various people and make friendship with them, talk to them. But whenever we get our destiny, we get back to the destiny. So our own place, venue. But we will not think about those people. So whether we are attached to them. So if we get attached to them, it's our foolishness. So similarly in this world also, it's a life is a journey of a train. So if we got one destiny, we'll move to other place. But in the meanwhile, if we get attached to them, we are the people who get suffering. So just like in the ocean, we see many things fallen in the ocean. So some come to the shore and go back to the shore, to the ocean back. So in this way, depending on our one's karma, the living entity come in the association of few other living entities, and after the finish of that particular karma, they take another body. So the child who is speaking here, so he gives the example. So just like we get a gold, all this gold is there, right? So with the gold mine, they chop it into, made a nice necklace, all this stuff. So this necklace or the gold items, jewelers which is there, so they move from one hand to another. From the one who manufactured the jewels or the gold, so it will manufacture to the proprietor or the one who is business. From the businessman hands to the customer's hands. So in this the same, gold is the same. So in that way it moves from one hand to another. So similarly, the living entity also moves from one place to the another place, depending on its karma. So this is spoken by the child with this knowledge of Brahma Jigyasa. So after this, everyone understood this, that our real father is Krishna and no one else. So similar pastime happened in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Anyone can guess? Yes, son of Srivas Thakur. So Mahaprabhu, all along with all his associates, were doing a wonderful kirtan in the house of Srivas Thakur, and everyone was very joyful, dancing. After some time, Srivas Thakur was hearing some crying sounds from the inside room of his house. So he went and checked what's happening. Then he got to know his child was dead. But Srivas Thakur, such a wonderful, pure devotee of the Lord. So he told all the females there who are crying, please stop crying. If you cry loudly, my Lord is dancing very nicely. He will be disturbed because of this. He should not be disturbed. His pleasure shouldn't be disturbed. Please stop crying. But females, right? So this affection, evidence, still continued crying. Then Srivas made this statement. If at all you don't stop crying, and if it disturbs my Lord, I'll commit suicide. So this was a statement of Srivas Thakur. So he's a great devotee, right? He's always thinking about the pleasure of the Lord. So after hearing this statement from Srivas Thakur, so all the family members stopped crying, so that he will not do such a mistake. And Srivas Thakur, as usual, came to the Sankirtan party and dancing nicely, singing nicely along with Lord Chaitanya. So the whole night passed away. So in slowly the Kirtan movements, means the enthusiasm of the Kirtan reduced. And 2 times Mahaprabhu asked, is something wrong in the house here? So devotee, nothing is Srivas Thakur, nothing. Mahaprabhu, please go on with the Kirtan. And going on. And one more time, the whole Kirtan enthusiasm was reduced. The Kirtan movement reduced. And again he asked, is something here wrong? Then Srivas Thakur, oh Lord, when your beautiful lotus face, the whole body is here, and you're doing Kirtan here, what will be the wrong situation in this most auspicious thing happening here? And one of the devotees told, Srivas Thakur's son dead. And Mahaprabhu was thinking, what? My dear devotee Srivas Thakur's son's dead. When was it happened? So he told 7.5 hours before. 7.5 hours before. Why didn't you tell this? Then the devotee told, Srivas Thakur don't want to reveal this to you. If it's so, you will be disturbed like this, oh my Lord. Then after hearing this, you can see here the Lord's. So His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj described this very nicely. So when we hear from him, it will be heart touching. When we hear from me, nothing happens. But for my purification, speaking this pastime. Such a wonderful pastime. Mahaprabhu looking at Srivas Thakur with this great devotion, he started weeping, crying, and told Srivas Thakur, "Oh Srivas Thakur, with your love and affection, you have purchased me. I am yours. So in this way, a devotee becomes very dear to the Lord. So from Chittaketu Maharaj pastime, we understood how Krishna is dear to all the living entities. He is our real father and no one else. So the living entities take one body after another, continuous. So taking a new body is not a big thing. According to our karma, we get a new body. But the difficult thing is, or else the real difficulty is to obtain a bona fide spiritual father, that is spiritual master. A bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, the duty of every human being is to search a spiritual master for his guidance, so that he can help us to come back to the spiritual, go back to Krishna, breaking the cycle of birth and death, return to his original form, the original father, Krishna. So the real difficulty is to attain such a bona fide spiritual master. So after getting a spiritual master, the most difficult thing is surrendering unto him, hearing his instructions and following his instructions. So Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Kripa Pai, Bhakti Lakta Bij. So among the whole Brahmanda, the living entities moves the whole Brahmanda, upper planetary systems, lower planetary systems, finally gets a human form of body. And after getting the human form of body, to get into devotee association is very, very rare. Even after getting into devotee association, practicing bhakti sincerely and seriously, having the goal fixed that I want to attain Krishna this very lifetime, having this intense desire is very, very rare. So we have wonderful devotees association around. But those intense devotees who have fixed their goal and marching on that goal, it's very, very rare. So it's very important to be in the association of those devotees who are very, very serious in their practice and on their preaching. And after coming to association, finding out this intense devotee association is quite difficult. And finding out those intense devotee association and following these instructions, their instructions nicely, and developing the desire to attain Krishna Prema, it's very, very difficult. So the difficult thing is this, to attain Krishna Prema, to get a bona fide spiritual master and following his instructions very nicely. So in this way, so we have summarized how a devotee becomes very dear to the Lord by rendering pure devotional service unto him, by completely making his own existence in the service of the Lord. That is through Kaya, Vacha and Manasa. So we understood this through Damodar Lila, how Mother Yashoda was completely engaged in the service of the Lord through Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. And this from pastime of Chitraketu Maharaj, we understood that none of these people in this material world are our real relatives. The real father is Krishna. And to attain Krishna, we need a devotee association. We cannot approach Lord directly. We can approach Lord only through his devotees and through a bona fide spiritual master. So the real difficulty in this world is to get that bona fide real spiritual master. And after getting him, following his instructions is another difficulty. So it's not going to happen just like that. It's very, very difficult. Since we have taken many, many, many lifetimes in this material world. So it was told in Ganga there how many sand particles were there. So more than that, we have taken birth in this material world. So in this material world, we have taken so many births. So much of contamination is there within us. The most important contamination is false ego. So with this false ego, I want to do what I want. So why should I do what someone else says? So it's the most important and difficult thing for a living entity to come out, to surrender to a spiritual master and follow his instructions. Is very, very difficult. Until and unless we have the mercy of the Lord, Until unless we have the mercy of the devotees, this false ego won't go away. Won't go away. Even after taking initiation, doing all the things, still mind says, why should I hear him? Why should I hear him? So it's very important to fix the goal of life. Understand the philosophy, at least theoretically. I am not this body and spirit soul. This world is dukkhalayam, ashashvatam. I can continue doing sense enjoyment, but I have to take another birth again. Don't know which karma bless at what time. So understanding these things, at least on a theoretical platform. So you have to progress, march on the path of spiritual life, following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada very nicely. By following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada sincerely and seriously, even though you were not able to render the service properly, but you have the attitude that I want to serve Srila Prabhupada nicely, then Srila Prabhupada will give the revelations. By his mercy, we will get the revelations. Krishna in the heart as Paramatma is there. He knows our heart. He knows our thought process. He knows our desires. So when we please the Lord, when we please the Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, we get that revelations, which is the theoretical knowledge as of now. So we get that realization actually when we please the Lord and the spiritual master very nicely. By their mercy, we get realizations. And when we get realizations, then what is the next step? Showing that gratitude. Because of your mercy, I got this wonderful realization. Oh, Srila Prabhupada, oh my Lord. But this realization may not be there for all the time. Because depending on situations, they may go away also. Because of the Vaishnava Aparat, what we do. So this attitude of gratitude is very, very important. Whatever we get, small thing around. So having that, showing that gratitude to Srila Prabhupada and to the Lord Krishna, you have given this such a wonderful opportunity to practice bhakti and be in the devotee association. Please don't take me away from this association of devotees, from the holy name, from the Bhagavatam. So when this gratitude develops, automatically humility develops. So when you have this gratitude, means you're telling our thankful mood to the Lord. I don't have this, you have given me. So when I'm telling I don't have, means it's a humble humility. I don't have, that's why I'm asking you, since you gave. So gratitude and humility are the emotions which we can develop towards in the spiritual life. And simultaneously understanding the goal of life. I want to attain Krishna. I'm part and parcel of Krishna. My eternal activity is to render service Krishna. If I don't render service to Krishna, I render service to Maya. That's it. So on the either of the day, we have to render service. So instead of rendering service to Maya, getting beatings again and again, so let's render service to Krishna. By serving Krishna, we also will be happy, and the Lord will be pleased, everyone will be pleased. And this is the goal of life. This is the success of a living entity. Going back home, back to Godhead, and rendering service unto Him. So there are various ways to progress in bhakti. So one of the ways is having that desire, first and foremost important. The desire and the goal should be fixed, that I want to attain Krishna this very life and nothing else. And we can attain Krishna also. We all started practicing bhakti. Everyone chanting 16 rounds, join the brahmachari ashram. Will sure. But going back to Godhead, Krishna Prema, this very life, that's a question mark. Guarantee is there. Anyone who started practicing bhakti will go back to Krishna, will attain Krishna for sure. But when is that question mark? So to intensify bhakti, if we have this desire in this very life, if I can do this, so we can see the lot of change in our attitude, in our practice of bhakti also. So there is a timeline set. So when there is timeline set, I'll work according to it. So all the who have done job, you know very well. So when there's a timeline set, so when your boss asks to submit the report vagera, how fast we'll be, how intense we'll be in our bhakti. So similarly, when we have timeline set in this very life, if I can do this, at the end of the life, we don't know. It's the Lord's mercy and Prabhupada's mercy, what they want to desire. But if we have this desire, I want to attain Krishna's lotus feet in this very life, we can see a lot of difference in our devotional service. The intensity with which we practice is a lot of difference. With intensity, we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Don't know when I'm gonna die. Maybe today, sitting on Vyasasan hearing. Anything can happen at any point of time. But you have this desire. Krishna knows this desire. He can manifest at anything, any moment. So, fixing the goal, I want to attain Krishna this very lifetime, intensifies our bhakti for thousands and thousands of times. It's a practical thing which many devotees have experienced. So I was just hearing from them and just speaking about this. So I also want to cultivate this desire to attain Krishna through this very lifetime. So if you all shower your blessings and prayers, so I was going to cultivate the desire and march accordingly. So with this, I would like to conclude today's session. If there are any questions or any comments, we can discuss. Any questions?
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the very amazing class. You mentioned amazing points of how we should develop gratitude and humility. So regarding that Chitraketu pastime, you pointed out that how Krishna is dear to the living entities. That I could connect, like how Chitraketu's pastime we can understand that Krishna is very dear.
So yeah, the child was telling here. So child is speaking all these stuffs. So you are not my parents. Krishna is my only father. So at that time, he also understood from the child's mouth. So Angira Muni or Nada Muni wants to give him this realization. Everything in this world is temporary. The only father is Krishna. So through giving him the mercy of a son, so he's a Shoka and also Dukkha and Harsha. So from this pastime, so Chitraketu Maharaj can get this realization. This child is there after his death. Means basically giving him the realization that everything in this world is temporary. The real thing is Krishna. So our real father is Krishna. So the child is speaking all these stuff. So when child speaks, you can understand so, no, what is his realization. And Narada Muni is there. All the great saints are there. So by their association also, so this is what the connection is. Able to. Any comments? Any mistakes I have done? You can please correct me. Any realizations?
Hare Krishna. Thank you for speaking. Nice points to meditate on. The devotees become very dear to Krishna. This is the point which I like to take to myself. So when you engage your Kaya, Vacha, Manasa, you become very dear to Krishna to such an extent that Krishna gives up his own pleasure and he comes to the devotee to serve the devotee. And from Srivas Thakur's pastime, we can understand that how sacrificing one's own priorities for the Lord's pleasure, so the devotee becomes very dear to Krishna. So we see that when the devotee is sacrificing his own pleasure, his own priorities, so at that time, Krishna is working for the devotee's pleasure. So in this way, the devotee is very dear to Krishna when the devotee is a pure devotee, when the devotee just wants to please Krishna and nothing else in life. So this is something which we have to implement in our day-to-day life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So as you mentioned, very amazing points that how after being so fortunate we have got this intense association of devotees, and in this association we can get the desire to attain the goal. And when that desire is there, when we get the desire through the intense association, then only our bhakti intensifies. So very important to nurture that desire to attain the goal, and then we can intensify. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, bro. I like the point where you said we should be fix our goal and desire also to attain Krishna prema within this very lifetime, and it's very very difficulty, but by the mercy of Krishna and Prabhupada we can get it if we are sincere in our endeavor and practicing nicely. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the point you discussed at the end, that there is no guarantee actually when we are gonna die, but due to our ignorance we are thinking that I have a lot of time, but actually there is no time. And you give the example that how when boss gives some timeline, then the person who is under him, he works with great intensity. So we should try to develop that intensity, because since we have started the devotional service, we will go back, but not mandatory that this lifetime. But Prabhupada and all other acharyas clearly said that finish your business this lifetime only. So the intensity is what is required, and that I'll try to build. Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण। मैं बता के तो रियल डिफिकल्टी है कि रियल डिफिकल्टी इज फाइंडिंग आउट ए रियल स्पिरिचुअल मास्टर, and the pure devotee of Krishna always want Krishna's pleasure. You give the example of Srivas Thakur, and by pleasing Guru and Krishna will get the spiritual realization. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Krishna attend to devotee who is completely engaged in service. Without Krishna and devotee's mercy, we cannot do bhakti.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhuji. With only love and affection, we can own the Lord, and thinking about His pleasure, only we can attain Him. Okay, so I want to, beg to the Srila Prabhupada and Lordships that, to get the at least mustard seed of love on Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So thank you very much for wonderful class. There were very nice points, and also you mentioned that the how the child spoke the philosophy, and that you know in time we because of our karma we come together, and again after that again we are separated. Sometimes we take birth, we become vegetables. Sometimes we come back to human beings like that. But Krishna is the only real friend who always stays with us as Paramatma. And also how you told that how to engage our body, mind and senses in the service of the Lord, Kaya, Vacha and Manasa, words in the service of the Lord.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.